Hey, what's going on, everyone, and welcome to episode 17 of the Raw Report. I am your host, Jericho, along with my co-hosts, X and Santana. And we got a jam-packed episode once more for you guys, and we're in the middle of the fantasy football playoffs. So you know what that means. Complete mayhem all over the place. And, one thing we got to get into right now, we just seen a spectacular move here in the season. We're just going to get into it. Kirk Cousins with that 33-0 comeback against the Indianapolis Colts. It was a movie out there. It was unbelievable. We didn't see Matt Ryan drop the ball again. Talk to me, fellas.
Yo, he had the biggest fucking losses in NFL history in the playoffs and in the regular season. Matt Ryan needs to run the ball. I don't know about you guys.
There's a term in NFL called snake bitten, right? Snake bitten franchises. Teams that for whatever reason just can't make it to the end of the glory. Matt Ryan is a snake bitten player. It's been written. It's written in the stars for him. You hate to see it. He's a great guy. I'm sure he's a great guy. He's not meant. He's not meant for that. He's meant for colossal NFL failures.
Look, Indianapolis is not a good team to begin with, so let's not front. Guys have been struggling all season long, and they actually lost Jonathan Taylor out for the season. Whatever's left of it, you know what I mean? Vikings are a big time contender. They're in the top 3 teams in the NFC, and with that win, they secured their clinch towards the playoffs. So we're gonna see Kirk Cousins, at some point in the playoffs and see what they got. And we already know the Indianapolis Colts probably won't end up anywhere close to the playoffs.
Yeah, but Cousins had a game. He had 460 yards. He had 4 touchdowns. Like, he had, an MVP caliber type of game, especially, coming closer to the end of the year. Now he's really separating himself from people who are not in the playoffs,
Shout out to anybody that started Kirk Cousins in their quarterfinals.
Yeah.
As we know, it's playoff week. Friendships are on the mend, being tested, and someone is getting the infamous sackle.
The infamous sackle that everybody must avoid. And in our leagues, pretty much they're all underway. We got about 5 fantasy leagues in Raw Fantasy Sports, and the majority of them are well underway. Quarterfinals are just starting out. We do a 15-week regular season. So, this week is really where everything gets popping. You know what I mean? We got tremendous jackpots on the line, a lot of betting going on the line. Everybody's rooting, gunning for that spot to win the championship. So, guys, it's a very exciting, the fantasy football playoffs. We're already seeing players underperforming. We're already seeing these injuries come in. And it's just so random. I myself actually got kicked out of a playoff spot because my entire team just crapped the fucking bed last week, and I lost to my man here, X. It's always a bloodbath. Every year we have our semi-annual bloodbath, we call it out here. A good rivalry we've been having going on since 2015. And yeah, man, I'm out of the playoffs. It came down to points. I had a tiebreaker, and it came down to points. And unfortunately, the other guy had 100 points over me, so I'm out. But I did make the playoffs in my 4 other fantasy leagues, so we're still gunning, baby. Let's go.
Let's get it, man. I'm sorry I had to do you like that, bro. But, we've been playing this competitively for, you said, over 8 years now. And, this is one of the few times that I feel, that I knocked you out, like, convincingly. Because usually it comes down to, like, a Monday night game or something crazy. And this time it was like, yeah, your players – They just didn't perform for you, man. So it's already I had to kick you out, but it was one or the other, bro.
Yeah, man. Justin Herbert just completely underperforming this season for me, man. He just didn't put up the points that I needed, and unfortunately, Stephon Diggs also didn't come through for me. I had him in my starting lineup. It was just a shit show, man. It just wasn't my week. It wasn't my year, but gotta keep on trucking. I'm happy I made it in my 4 other leagues.
I want all our viewers to know that X don't mean that shit. This motherfucker happier than a kid on Christmas, making sure that none of us make the playoffs. Look at that. See?
and for those that don't know, that's our high money, that's our high roller league. So we're gunning this year for you know, $1,500. So $300 buy-in. So a lot of money on the line, guys. A lot of competition. Our 11th season, the Polo League and RFS. So, you know, really excited. We got other leagues going on too. We got a 12-man league called NPR. 8 playoff spots, guys. No bye weeks. So you already know it's about to be a bloodbath in there. And Call of Football. I'm in Call of Football with both you guys. That's another one of our leagues. And did you make the playoffs, X? Call of
Yeah, of course.
Football?
I'm number 2. I have a bye.
Oh,
I did
that's
not.
right. You jumped up to number 2 on that one as well.
I went from number 5 to number 2 because of
Yeah,
points.
Richie got the number 1 spot.
Yeah.
I didn't make the playoffs in college football for the first time in 6 seasons.
Wow.
It is definitely humbling and disappointing. I'm in 3 leagues. I'm in the bye in the other 2 in college football, which has personal meaning to me, has the most bragging rights, and I didn't make it. It sucks, but hey, at least I'm not in contention for the Sacco. I had just missed it by 1 spot, but so be it. A funny story on the major league that Jerry was talking about. I was banned for the last how many years? 7, 8?
I think it was 5 years.
I'm gonna have 2 more years to spice it up. So I was banned for 7 years. You know, and due to legal purposes, I can't speak on why I was banned. But now that I'm back in my rightful place, bye week, second seed, ready to come for it all. I'm not gonna lose to the number 1 team that it's self-titled Fluffy McLovin. If the football gods are just, I will not lose to nobody named Fluffy McLovin in the upcoming playoffs.
And for those that don't know, we're going to have a very special episode next week where some of our league members we're going to be recapping the 2022 season as we go right into the championship weekend coming up. And it's very much a big deal in our league. So, you know, looking forward to that, guys.
We haven't clinched yet, but the New York Giants are on the playoff cusp. And we really, you know, we had a couple bad years. I want to say about 5, more than just a couple. We had Saquon's biggest game as a Giant versus Washington. We beat the Commanders in a tough game where our defense showed up. Kayvon Thibodeau, he had his coming out party. And we all know the Giants are, you know, our record makes us a little bit different because of that one tie, but we really set ourselves apart when it comes to the Lions or when it comes to Seattle or even Washington. So the fact that we're in the playoffs and we're on, you know, on the one of the higher end teams on the power rankings, I'm excited to say, you know, I'm a New York Giants fan. I'll be in the final home game for the regular season on January 1st, and no, I'm looking to see if we can make some noise in the playoffs, man, because Saquon is really, you know, we understand the MVPs usually go to quarterbacks, but if it wasn't a quarterback this year, he would have to be in consideration or discussions for MVP for turning this franchise around.
How much do you pay him?
He's going to get the number 1 money in the league. He's going to get more than what Zeke was getting. He'll get a 4 or 5. And he'll get it. He's still young, you know.
You're going to give it to him? All right.
Yeah,
he'll pay Saquon.
He'll get 20 mil a year. He'll get it. Or he'll get tagged. One or the other.
I think he's going to get tagged, man. I think he's going to get tagged. Giants got to figure out what they're going to do moving forward, like what their future plans are.
Because they don't even know if they want to pay Jones yet. They're waiting to see how far he can get.
I'd rather
trying to see if they can get a squeeze an ounce of greatness out of him.
Yeah, because like you guys said earlier, we were talking about it. You know, Lamar's a free agent, and the Giants have a lot of money, and we're not paying anybody really. We have Kenny Golladay, and that's pretty much it. We have to pay some guys on defense, but as far as free agents, we could land a big fit quarterback. So we don't have to hang our hat on Daniel Jones. We can let it ride out.
That's gonna be the big whale of the offseason. I can't think of no bigger free agent name than Lamar Jackson.
Lamar's VP, and he's up. You know, he's up for a new contract. He's been injury plagued this year, and maybe he's not going to get as much as he could have gotten, but teams will still pay him. You know,
I love Saquon. He's by far the best running back in the league. And you definitely pay a man like that. You definitely secure for 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
But Lamar is definitely that big fish. And if he goes to New York, the headlines. Okay, all right, okay. It's getting spicy. I like it.
Yeah, and I gotta say, even though I am an Eagles fan, I definitely root for the Giants. It's probably the only other team in the NFC that I have respect for. And they're right there on the cusp, man. They're right there next to Washington, of course. If you guys can maintain the wins, you're definitely gonna get that clinch. I'm just kind of bummed out. Like the race between you guys and the Dallas Cowboys is kind of over. They ended up somehow clinching. And again, if we do end up going to the playoffs, if I had to choose between the Cowboys and the New York Giants, I'm gonna go ahead and put my money on the Giants. I really like what the head coach has done with the organization. He's definitely turned around the team with what he has. He hasn't sat there complaining, making excuses. You know what I mean? Like he just uses his weapons and use it to move the team forward. And that's what I really like about the head coach. I think he should definitely go for head coach of the year honors, regardless of the win-loss record. And I think he's done a stupendous job out there. Hopefully the Giants get better moving forward. I think they're gonna tag Saquon. They don't know what their future looks like, and rightfully so. Saquon, if he wants to roll, he very much well can. But I think he's gonna end up staying. I think he likes New York, man. It's all about the Benjamins, and to see how much money he can get, how many more years, maybe 4 or 5 years, maybe 100 million. You never know.
Yeah, I think he'll try to get 20 mil a year and set the market for running backs if he does get paid. Otherwise, he'll get that tag and he'll get paid what is it? It's like an average of the top 10 highest paid. Something like that.
That fluctuates. It'll fluctuate then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so moving forward this weekend, I'm excited because we got the return of Gardner fucking Minshew out here. Got my motherfucking Philadelphia Eagles in the background. But we got Garner Minshew coming back with the mustache. So we should see him make magic out there. Hopefully he doesn't lose a game for us. But I like Gardner Minshew. I think he's a character, man. I think they're going to end up making a movie out of this fool in the future.
It's got to be played by a porn star because that mustache, man, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah,
don't know what to tell you, bro.
That's a fan favorite. He's definitely a fan favorite, yo. People love him. He's almost like a Ryan Fitzpatrick like figure. He's a lot of bravado and not as much athleticism, but he'll rile the team up.
He can flash his greatness a little bit around. He can have a good 1 or 2 games. He did magic out there in Jacksonville. You can't knock him out. The weird part about this is that he's gonna be playing against Nick Foles, who he took his job from. So that's why he's not the backup in Philly anymore. But now Nick Foles ended up being out there in Indianapolis. They're gonna sit Matt Ryan down. And it's gonna be backup quarterback versus backup quarterback out there in Indianapolis.
Yeah, I
Nick
think
Foles.
Minshew's one of the better backup quarterbacks in the league, if you ask me.
Nick Foles, 5 touchdowns. Coach.
Break his own record, 9 touchdowns. So yeah, guys, what do you guys think about Lamar? Up to this point, Baltimore has not reached out and extended a contract here. They don't look like they're gonna keep him long term. Should he walk? Should he stay? What do you guys think should happen out there in Baltimore? He's injured, might I add.
Okay.
I'm gonna end up staying. I think he's gonna stay because they built that team around him, and it's the best situation for him to win. We know they built the offensive line around him. They don't have a top 10 receiver or anything like that, but they have a top 2 tight end. We can say that they have a few running backs that they play, hot potato with. Whoever's the hot hand gets the ball, and they might add another rookie, a younger wide receiver for him because they paid everyone on the O line. They're paying the D line, but they are getting older. Calais Campbell, he just got hurt this past weekend, and he was one of the anchors on their defense. So that makes a big difference into how they're going to play now. So I don't think the Ravens are going far this year. However, I think he's going to end up staying because it's the best situation for him.
he may very well be the beginning of the mercenary contracts in the NFL. He may sign a little 2 year, fully guaranteed, 2 3 year fully guaranteed deal and move on and see what happens. What can you do for me? Because I know what I bring to the table, right? Electricity, electrifying plays, former MVP. Like it's hard to game plan against him. He may very well start the mercenary era of the NFL. Give me a 2 to 3 year fully guaranteed contract and see what happens.
Nah, I think he
Yeah,
wants to get years as he can so he can secure his future, you know?
Yeah, but that era is starting to shift because now players of caliber, right, are starting to pull fully guaranteed contracts. But you have to be a caliber. And I fully believe that Lamar Jackson is definitely in that tier,
Yeah, but
right?
you got to rape 25 girls and he's getting a fully guaranteed 7 year deal. Why would he settle for a 3 year deal?
allegedly.
Why would he? Yeah, he just
well,
came out
well,
of jail, but he just came out of a high profile case, and yet this guy is going to settle for a 3 year deal. I don't see it happening.
you know what? You know what? That brings up a very good point. But not everybody is the Cleveland Browns, bro. And they're desperate. The Cleveland Browns are a desperate franchise.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Santana here. I think that I don't think in this particular scenario, but I do foresee it in the near future where they're trying to make the NFL a little bit more relative to like Major League Baseball or even basketball, where these players, these superstars are now starting to move around. They go into a system for 2 to 3 seasons, maybe 4 seasons. If the system it
And
doesn't work out, then they're free to ride out. So I definitely see it. Maybe somebody's signing $100 million 3 year deal with a 4th year option, only because if the team picks them up, they can trade them for value. So that way they don't have to constantly lose their stars to free agency, which could be some random ass team. The poorest team in the league can offer you some astronomical amount of money, like what's going on with Cleveland. They have notoriously sucked forever. They got all the money in the world because there's nobody in Cleveland, guys. They can pay Deshaun Watson $45 million a year, even though he's not a $45 million quarterback. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I do foresee that in the future. The culture is going to start to shift. We're going to start seeing these superstars start bouncing around a little bit from team to team. We're starting to see it now with Baker Mayfield, literally 1 week in Carolina, the next week balling the hell out in LA. So, if you can sign these little short-term deals with fully guaranteed money, I think the players might take it, especially if they bring tremendous value to the team and they're a brain behind the operations. They can strategize the playbook. You know what I mean? They can be team leaders or whatnot. So that's yet to be seen. But I think that in the foreseeable future, that's something that we're going to be looking at.
let's see how that goes. The players know that the league is bringing in that revenue and they want it and they know they can get it. Let's see.
All right. So
Offseason is going
now
to be
that the
spicy.
season's coming down towards the end, we got to talk about the top five MVP candidates for the season. Let me get your first pick, guys.
All right. First off, his name is Tua Tonga Vailoa.
How do we know? How do we know you were gonna fucking mention Tua? This fucking guy.
Nah. In all honesty, let's give it up to Jalen Hurts. He's been balling. This man has double-digit touchdowns through the air, through the ground, single-digit picks. It's very impressive. The Eagles obviously number one overall seed, not just in the NFC, but overall. And then you got to give it up to I really do hate how it's a quarterback driven award when there's so many other valuable players out there, but definitely Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills. He is a one-man wrecking crew, has to be recognized as a top MVP getter, the early season Super Bowl favorite. Obviously that's still in the play. Then you would have to give it up to I
Joe
would
Burrow.
say Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow. Can you believe this?
I wanted to give it to somebody in Minnesota before I give it to somebody to Cincinnati.
Oh, it's either Kirk Cousins or nobody.
Justin Jefferson does deserve, a good amount of credit there. If it wasn't for Tyreek Hill, he would be the number one clear runaway receiver of the season.
He is.
Yeah,
I promise you, he is.
it's Tyreek, dog. It's Tyreek. He's leading everything in yards and receptions, and he's in QB and ratings. Like he is the number one rated overall receiver. And I'm not being biased. You can go to every platform, and they're saying
No,
that.
not at all. Not at
I'm
all.
not being. I'm not being biased, because mind you, I'm not even gonna put two up there. If this was 3 weeks ago, I would put two in the MVP conversation. But at 8-6, how can I possibly argue that? Right? He's had flashes, right? But has it been consistent throughout the season? Not like Jalen Hurts. Not like not
let's look
like
at the
Buffalo.
let's look at the numbers. Jefferson has 1,600 yards and 111 catches.
Already?
Let's look,
He's their offense. He is the offense in Minnesota.
so let's look at what Tyreek is in: 15, 29, and 109 receptions. So they have about the same receptions, but Jefferson has 100 more yards, and they have the same amount of touchdowns.
Okay. And that's with Jefferson being the only option.
No,
Tyreek shares the field with another 1,000-yard
no,
receiver.
he has Adam Thielen.
Done.
He's done. He has 70 catches himself. Then he
How
has
many yards?
then he has Dalvin Cook. That's who you leaving out. Then he has TJ Hawkinson now. But that's it. But Fields. Tyreek Hill's having a great year, and he might be wide receiver, top 2, top 3 receivers. But I think Jefferson is establishing himself as this is the first year that it's his league, really.
Which is why I want him to have MVP consideration instead of just everything being highlighted to the quarterback.
Right.
It should be.
But everybody knows that it's gonna be tough for a wide receiver to win MVP, man. I mean, you catch
You
the
are right.
balls, you get all the touchdowns, you barely get hit.
What, bro? This man got popped last week. But that's neither here and there. It's definitely Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen. You got to put in Burrow. Even though I feel the Bengals have underperformed this season, right? Joe Burrow is still Joe Shiesty. Can't knock him. He's still a baller. One of the top quarterbacks and one of the young quarterbacks in this league. Who else would I put up there? Who else you guys have up there?
You got to put Saquon Barkley. You have to, because this guy led this team from out the mud this year. We had nobody this year believing in this, and
I'm gonna go ahead and put a surprise pick, and you guys might not agree. I'm gonna put in Geno Smith.
Oh my God!
Oh,
playoffs. How is he valuable?
That's right. If I were to put him in a top 5, he would be number 5. Because I'm not putting Kirk Cousins up there. I believe that Geno Smith can take it to him on any given Sunday, and we shall see in the playoffs.
Sure,
okay.
Bro. At all. He's
I
not
mean, shit. They could very well sneak into the playoffs in that division. But Geno Smith has been balling. He's definitely had a lot of wow games this season. Kept him afloat for a while. You can't knock him. Let's give him some flowers right now.
Listen. Geno Smith actively has more touchdowns than Kirk Cousins. He has less picks. He has better QBR rating. All right. That's 3 statistical categories that he takes him in. All right. So if we're talking about number 5, I would definitely put Geno Smith. We're talking about quarterbacks.
Quarterbacks only? Then I would give that last little spot to Tua. Just because of how relevant. No, for real. I mean, I would have given it to the Jets if they would have been, at least relevant as they were now. At some point, they only had 2 losses, taking over the league. Shit. Tua had one of the best performances this league. when we came back from a four touchdown deficit in Baltimore on the road to beat Lamar Jackson. I mean, yeah, I would do that. It upsets me that I can't name no defensive player for this season because really no defensive player has literally shined like that. That I can
It's
say, hey,
probably.
you know what?
I think there's two guys. It could only be Nick Bosa from the Niners, who's balling out this year, or it can be Micah Parsons from the Cowboys, who may win Defensive Player of the Year. It's one of those two guys that are going to take that award.
God, I just feel like those guys are a little overhyped, especially Parsons.
Oh no, yeah, no, you're not watching the same games I'm watching. I don't know.
I mean, he's balling. I'm not saying that he's not. I'm just saying that whole defense as a whole is good. It's just not Parsons itself, even though he does get the highlights with the sacks.
Yeah, but a lot of teams, they lose their quarterback. They can't go 5-1. They lost their
You're
quarterback.
right.
They went 5-1.
You're right. You know what? You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You are right.
Early in the year, it was probably a different team then than they are now, but they still went 5-1, and now Dak is back to only make them better. And even I was talking about Super Bowl talk for the Cowboys, and some things but I'm still gonna keep my pick. I don't want to say they're gonna go to the Super Bowl, but they are definitely a contender. I say they're contenders. I just like I have the Eagles choking. They're both. It's the Cowboys will contend, the Eagles will choke, and I think it's going to be the Niners. I think the Niners are going to move up. I see that happening.
The Niners don't got no quarterback.
I don't believe in Brock Purdy. I must agree.
Come on, that's a rookie quarterback, guy. They're not going very far. They're going to lose in the first round. If they go anywhere, it's because of Christian McCaffrey.
I believe in Ryan Tannehill more than I believe in Brock Purdy.
Ooh, even damn.
Garoppolo, no one saw Garoppolo doing shit.
No one.
Yeah, but this makes
Garoppolo had his chance.
The 49ers just lost 2 starting quarterbacks in the same season, son. I mean, they did pretty well for what they had, but bro, they're down to a 3rd string quarterback going into the playoffs because they already clinched.
And that's how MVPs don't be winning Super Bowls like that.
The 49ers GM is about to get fired. The 49ers gave the Dolphins 3 first-round picks to move up in the draft to take number 3 overall Trey Lance. Who did the Dolphins turn in those picks into? Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Bradley Chubb for Trey Lance.
All right.
It's a disaster. It's a shit show out there in San Francisco, man.
They got no future. They have no future.
None.
They gave away all their first-round picks. Oh, and then the remaining second-round picks, they gave it to Christian McCaffrey. That team is relying on Trey Lance or Brock Purdy with a middle-aged defense.
And that's exactly why I say that they're not going to go very far, man. And if they do, it's because of Christian McCaffrey. They might make it to the second round, and they might get, see themselves out of there. But, I don't see the 49ers going very far.
Let's see how that goes. The AFC is more intriguing to me than the NFC is. I mean, honestly, it's the NFC East versus the Minnesota Vikings to see who goes to the Super Bowl. Let's be honest. That's it. That's it for the NFC right there.
Yeah. How you guys feel about the Titans? We haven't talked about them much, but they're making noise. Playoffs. How are they looking?
Ryan Tannehill has been officially confirmed out for the season with a bad ankle injury. Ooh. I don't even know. So it's Malik Willis. If I'm not mistaken, the quarterback who's going to eat into Derrick Henry's rushing attempts, who traded away A.J. Brown to the 12-1 Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, I see them going anywhere. Whoever plays the Tennessee Titans in the opening wild card round is probably going to beat them.
Yeah, you're right. I'm not
as far as that goes. And you brought up something very interesting. I didn't know that Calais Campbell went down with an injury. That really does hurt the Baltimore Ravens because if nothing, they had that defense to hold them up.
Yeah, it could be the end of his career, and he's been healthy his whole career, type shit.
He's old. He's
Yeah,
old. He's like
7. He's old.
he's like 30 something. He's high in his 30s.
Yeah,
Probably in the late 30s.
Yeah, so
I would say late 30s.
yeah, I mean, let's see. Bengals are on a 4 or 5 game winning streak right now. Let's see how that goes. It looks like Baltimore might be in danger of being a low wild card team facing the Chiefs in the first round, in their first go round.
And you know,
No,
Patty
Good
got
for
that.
Baltimore.
it looks like they're gonna play the Titans because the Titans are a division winner, so they might have a home game. As of right now, the Titans play at home in the playoffs.
Yeah, the Titans are going to have a home game because someone has to win a division, and it's going to be Tennessee.
Right,
It's going to be Tennessee.
That's an easy dub.
And then
Then
the Bengals are going to take their division, so that means the Ravens are going to be a wild card team.
Yeah, but then you got the Chargers that they'll play the Bengals. Herbert versus Burrow with the playoffs.
Ooh, this Sunday?
No. If the playoffs started today, it would be the Chargers Bengals.
Wow.
Then you would have the Dolphins at the Chiefs.
Ooh.
So yeah, you can pack
Those
up.
are tough matchups right there.
You can pack up those.
You mean the team that just struggled with the Houston Texans?
Bro, yeah, that is 11-3 and went to 2 Super Bowls in the last 3 years. Yeah, that team, bro.
I don't want to hear it. No, yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
And then the only bye team would be Buffalo.
So that's as of now. That could change. That could change, man.
It can change. But are you really gonna jump the Ravens or the Chargers?
Yeah, we hold the tiebreaker over the Ravens, and we do not hold the one over the Chargers. Chargers beat us.
We play the Packers this week. That's the toughest game out of anyone that we just named. So the Packers
win. I'm not worried about no damn Packers, bro.
Aaron Rodgers in good weather in December. He might
not worried about that.
He might throw 5 touchdowns on y'all, boy.
You never know. You know, Aaron Rodgers gets hot at the end of the season.
Yo, they might put up 45 points on your heads, bro. I swear, Aaron Rodgers. Don't get it twisted. He's
better keep eating that popcorn because it's gonna be a movie.
Yeah, he had a rough year, but he got running backs now. He don't got to be the MVP no more. People think, oh yeah, he's having a terrible year. Yeah, they're losing, but they can still go to the playoffs. Don't get it twisted.
I completely agree.
I'll roll up a Green Bay Packers blunt right now. That's how confident I am. I'm gonna smoke on that Aaron Rodgers pack before Sunday's over. That's how confident I am in that. When we circle back for the next episode, bring this up again.
All right.
Of course we will. So, guys, very exciting weekend coming up. We got the Christmas weekend coming up, and we got our final podcast of the season or the year coming up next week. We got some of the members of our league coming on the show to talk that tough talk in the middle of the playoffs, guys. We're going to have Chris P. and Andre P. Paris once again come next week. And thank you for joining us. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you drop a comment. Follow us on Instagram at Raw Fantasy Sports. Hit the like button, guys. Hit us up. I am your host, Jericho, along with my co-host, X and Santana. And I'll see you next week, guys. Merry Christmas.
Dale.